Are we on? Okay. Welcome everybody to the last jazz forum before our spring break. It's nice to see that there's still at least a few people here. We're really fortunate to have some incredible musicians going to be holding forth for us. Some of them, hopefully you know most of them or all of them already. And we're into the world of needing hopefully no introduction, but incredible saxophonist, jazz educator, sort of wrote the book so many people have played from and have auditioned from those, used those books for auditions, but Jim Snidero, the incredible bassist Mr. Peter Washington, who plays with a dear and Jason Tiemann on drums, who I've just met before. Also, everybody has played with everybody, and I figure we didn't really talk about this, but in talking with Chip McNeil this morning, we think the possibility of maybe doing a tune and then take some questions, or not. We'll be relatively free for
maybe what we'll do is we'll play 2 tunes and then we'll take some
Great,
questions.
great. So anyway, here they are on their album debut tour, but I'll let them, let Jim tell you about all that.
This record just came out a couple weeks ago, Bird Feathers on Savant. It's my maybe 14th record on the label. Good label. It's with Peter. It's a trio record, and it's dedicated to Charlie Parker. I'm sure that you guys have spent, I hope you've spent some time with his music, because he was the greatest ever, not only the greatest saxophonist ever, but in my opinion, the greatest improviser ever, too. And such a rapport with the instrument, so much humanity in it. It's just the most complete picture, I feel, not in any jazz musician, but I think you know what you're saying and what I'm saying. So I hope you'll check that out. On the record, we did maybe 4 or 5 bird tunes, and we did a couple of standards that were associated with Charlie Parker. So we're going to do one of those now. It's called "Embraceable You." a little bit of, I guess I would say, confidence with the time and being able to relax with the changes. Mostly relaxation along with precision, I guess. And I think basically that's what we try to do all the time, is to have relaxed intensity, relaxed precision, you know, beyond saying something personal, what you want to, hearing what you're going to play and all of that kind of stuff. Any questions before we play something else for any of us? Equipment, whatever? Yes?
Through your years of education and performance, what was the most important lesson you learned from all of those, no matter what?
Well, to pursue excellence, I think. You know, there's always room for someone that's great at the top. If you're really, really good, if you're really excellent, you have as good a chance as anybody making it. So I think that was at the forefront of my mind. And I don't know, I think for me anyway, probably for, these guys are so well listened, you can name virtually any record and they're gonna know it backwards and forwards, especially well-known records. And I think for us, you know, I speak for myself, that the way that I am inspired to do the work is to stay inspired. You know, and the records are the way to be inspired, for me. Anyway, every time I listen to something that I really love, I mean, it's not rare for me to scream. You know, just go, yeah! You know, in my bedroom or in my car or something like that. I just get so excited about it. I love it so much. And that helps me to do the work to try to pursue excellence. So that's what I would say. Other questions? Yes?
So I know this is like the most typical way to answer this question is just like, for, specifically for bass, like trying to solo without changes, everyone, like the most typical answer is kind of just a melody in your head and practice and all that stuff. But like more specifically, do you have like any other advice other than that as to like
For
what
soloing?
you were thinking about? Yeah, for like soloing without changes.
I think you kind of covered it in your question. It's, you hear the melody in your head and you hear the changes and you strike a balance between the two of them. And then play something that doesn't go with either. And try to make it make sense, kind of like a short story makes sense. But even not making sense, everything doesn't have to make sense. It can be not making sense. If it sounds beautiful and good, it's going to be cool. I will say this, to get to the point where you're able to do that, just flow with what's going on in your mind and in your body. Technique. The kind of technique classical teachers teach you. This instrument's been around 400 or 500 years, and to me, you can't. Some guys can get away with it; they sound great. But to me, you can't do this without having a classical teacher that teaches you proper posture and breathing and relaxation. And then you can get to what you're talking about, when you're just soloing and it's all your creativity, what's inside of you. But you have to have the technique down, in my opinion. And I don't mean Kusevitsky concerto technique. I mean basics.
Yeah.
To make you comfortable and relaxed enough so that you're not thinking about that. And that you're not huffing and puffing and letting the instrument conquer you. You're never going to conquer it, but you can come to terms with it by being relaxed. Does that make sense?
That makes more sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Other questions? All right, we'll play another one.
No, just a question.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just, you know, on the topic of listening and being well listened, this is for any or each of you, maybe, do you have like a record that really speaks to you that maybe isn't, you know, maybe you might not have heard, and like one that's one of your favorites of all time, and maybe one that's more recent, like the past few years?
Oh, well, I mean, we were just talking about Just Friends by Charlie Parker. I think that that's probably my favorite solo of all time. Most beautiful and well-crafted and precision, everything that we talked about. Maybe something that you haven't heard very much as an alto saxophonist, Sonny Stitt. Stitt did some records in the late 50s. There's one that's really good called Sax Supremacy. That's with Mel Lewis that I really love. And then there's some records on, I think it's on Roost. There's a, go to Mosaic Records. Mosaic is a great source for, and there's a Sonny Stitt set, and I think it's on Roost, I can't remember the label, but anyway, there's some playing on that that's my all-time favorite. You know, he plays Cocktails for Two, which is just incredible. It's just a couple of courses. It's incredible. I love Sonny Stitt as much as anybody. And one reason I do is because Stitt kind of played the same instrument that most of us play these days. Cannonball did and Bird didn't. So it's a different sound. And when I listen to Stitt, I know he's playing a Mark VI or a balanced action. It's pretty similar. So I can get a lot from the sound. I can get a lot from the rapport that he has with the instrument. So for me, those would be two. JT?
I wouldn't, it's not everything, but to me it almost is. I wouldn't neglect singers. I would listen to Ella Fitzgerald and Frank Sinatra, the songbooks, how they sang standards. That would teach you, believe it or not, how to play a solo, because the way they could get so much information into a chorus or two, the way they stated the melody, the way they left certain things out, and the way they swung, and the creativity, that can really teach you a lot of how to build a solo, in my opinion. Not to mention the rhythm sections on those records were just incredible. So you can learn how to play in two, pretty much all the information of jazz is in the Ella Fitzgerald songbooks and Frank Sinatra records. And it, of course, it doesn't begin and end there. It began with Louis Armstrong, and it goes way further. But that's, to me, the foundation of it. That stuff, you might think singers are corny, but if you really listen into those records, you'll find out they're very far from that. And they're hipper than most soloists who sound like they're practicing, you know, licks and stuff. It's just music, you know, and it will teach you how to get there, in my opinion. You can appreciate that stuff.
And I think as an extension of what Peter was talking about, you know, try not to get into the pigeonhole of just looking for recordings of your favorite musician on your instrument. You know, be checking out, you know, the other things that are happening, or without citing a specific example of a recording. You know, for example, drummers. How many drummers are in here? You know, listening through recordings and zeroing in on just what the bass is playing, or how the piano is comping, unlock keys as to why the drummer might be playing the way he's playing. You know, so again, without citing a specific example, don't think of just your instrument when you're listening to recordings. Think of the big picture. Learn tunes, of course. I like the idea of learning it from singers as well. You know, learning the lyrics of tunes, that's a really important part of the process, you know, in terms of interpreting the music. So,
I mean, not too many jazz musicians have taken it further than Wayne Shorter, and I heard him say literally what I just tried to say about listening to singers. I mean, he was really into it, and that was his bedrock, and then he went where he had to go. And it's very easy to understand how you can do that, to me.
All right, let's play another tune. So we're going to play one I think everybody knows that's on the record.
instrument. How does that affect your approach to the group and what you do?
Well, it gives me more freedom, you know, because you can go anywhere. You don't want to confuse a piano player. You know, if you've got a piano player and you start doing some things that maybe they're not exactly sure about, that can hurt the continuity of the group and the groove. So you have to be really familiar with a pianist if you're going to start really stretching, right? But in this, and of course with these guys, but without the chords anyway, as long as you're hearing what you're doing and somehow it makes sense to you, it sounds good to you, you can go for it, basically, and they're going to, one way or another, adjust, you know. But I feel like to be honest with you, I've never done a tour trio, and I was really apprehensive that I could handle it, to be honest with you. We've done 11 cities in 11 days, and this is the second to last one. And so I was a little worried, I guess I would say. I was, you know, I wanted to do a good job. But as soon as I got out here with these guys and saw how the crowd liked it, and for me, I think you get a real clear presence in your sound. There's nothing clouding it in. We're pretty far distance away, the alto and bass. Usually it's tenor when they play saxophone trio. It's pretty rare for an alto player to do it. But, you know, it just kind of gives it an airiness, especially when you go up a little bit higher on the alto, maybe a little bit more of the soaring kind of register of the alto. I think it sounds great, especially what he's playing. That's the main thing I would say.
I would like to ask about your practicing. Do you have a practicing routine? And when was the time in your life where you practiced more, and how many hours you used to?
I mean, the practice thing is a very, very long subject, I would say, but there's a couple of things I can say. That I'm always working on tunes. I've done that for most of my professional career. I'm relating it to a tune, I'm working on a tune, I'm working on a set of changes, and that gives me focus on the concept on the tune. But of course, that all carries over to lots of other stuff because tunes are so familiar. It's the same changes over and over again, a lot of times anyway. So that's one thing I do. And I would say, I mean, I've had probably 3 or 4 periods since college that I spent probably 2 or 3 years practicing all the time. You know, where I was really inspired, just what I was talking about, you know. And actually, the last thing that really inspired me is this saxophone. I was just telling Randy about it because I got this a couple of years ago, and I just love this saxophone. And I played the same saxophone, the same Mark VI alto for over 30 years. But I found this at Tiemann Woodwind in Chicago. And as soon as I got home from back to New York, I put my other horn away, and I swear to you, I've never taken it out of the case in 2 years. That other one. I'm just so enamored with this saxophone. And it inspired me to practice it, honestly. Really got into it. You never know where inspiration's going to come. You know, something clicks, or you're practicing a little bit, and then there's a realization about something that excites you. That's basically it for me. Yes?
This is for any of you three, but is there like a trick to like getting a combo or like a group to like feel the music together, like to like really be in the pocket, not just like playing together, but like I don't know if that makes
May I
sense.
take that one?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
It's not actually a trick. The key to playing, and to me, playing music, the better part of playing music is listening. And getting out of that 3-foot circle. I learned this from a Gary Carr masterclass. He was talking about classical music, but this works for every kind of music. I don't care what you're playing, Brazilian funk. Get out, stop hearing just that 3-foot circle in front of you. Hear yourself coming off the back wall, but before you even hear that, hear them. Listen first, and then you'd be surprised how many ideas that gives you, and how it helps your time and everything like that, and how it doesn't sound like you're just playing for yourself. Just hear them first. Then hear yourself far away from yourself. Take yourself out of yourself, and then all of a sudden, it opens your mind up to things, in my opinion.
Maybe 1 or 2 more? What do we have? We're ending at 2, right? Yeah. Yes.
When you're playing situation at the end of the drum solo, you're doing some hits. Is that off the specific record language there?
The shout.
The shout chorus, yeah, that's on the record.
Which
Well,
one?
wait a second, which record? Bird didn't do that. Who did that first? Probably Dizzy.
That was Dizzy.
That was Dizzy. There's a Dizzy Gillespie record with that on it.
That-
It's kind of the standard thing to
That's a
do.
Dizzy, but,
Yeah. All right, so if anybody's interested, we have some CDs here, and I've got the Starving Beans and Rice Eating Student Price of $10. Okay? I don't want to bring them back to New York. We got one more gig, and I got about 15 left, so please take them off my hands. Okay, so we're going to do something, one of my favorites. We've been doing this during the tour. It's from the Cannonball Adderley book. It's written by Sam Jones. It's kind of a catchy tune called Del Sasso. Come on.
Snidero and Peter and Jason for the incredible music. Thank you for sharing that
Oh,
with us and your thoughts.
Thank you.
We'll see you all in 2 weeks back here on the Jazzy UAUC, whatever it is, YouTube channel. Bye. Have a nice break.
I'm not sure. Maybe part of that is because the black